Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt, and this is Team Chicago Challenge. But because the election coming up, this is a very important election coming up, I have to make some comments about, it's a two-man race. It's Rahm Emanuel against Chuy Garcia, Chuy. So people want to know, where do I fall on something like this? Well, the trouble is with an election like this, we got two people that are both extremely on the left. I mean, way extreme, as far extreme as President Obama on the left. Because you got to remember, Rahm Emanuel, and for people watching the show, I just want to point out that no motorcycle racing this week. This is so important. Somebody's got to bring these things up. Somebody's got to put up a different viewpoint, because you're not going to get another viewpoint on ABC, NBC, CBS, Tribune, Sun-Times, none of them. Everybody is in. They're in with the leftists, is that the way I look at it. But anyhow, Rahm Emanuel, you know, he came from the Obama administration. He was the congressman in his 5th congressional district. He's as extreme left as President Obama. Way out there, way out there. Whereas Mr. Garcia, he's as far left too. So the choice of finding a business-orientated candidate in this race is nearly impossible. But let's talk about Chicago a little bit. Let me put my clipboard down, and I'm going to show you a map of Chicago, and just to give you an idea how what I brought out before the election, before the primary, that Rahm Emanuel is worse than the worst hillbilly sheriff in the worst county in the South writing tickets. Now, the current issue, I mean, you talk about things being current. Right now, the federal government under our president, you know, Obama and Holder, they're looking at Ferguson, Missouri, and one of the things they're looking at, all the tickets that the policemen are writing in the St. Louis County against black people. Rahm Emanuel has personally written, because I hold him personally responsible for every speeding ticket and every stoplight ticket. I hold him personally responsible because there is no face behind them cameras. It's Rahm Emanuel's face. It's Rahm Emanuel with the evil eye in that camera. He has given more black people and more brown people more tickets, more expenses, more fines than all of St. Louis County in Missouri. He is more racist, more prejudiced, worse than all the sheriffs down there in St. Louis, all them police, Ferguson, all them other little towns, all these stories that you hear about. Rahm Emanuel has surpassed them in the amount of money he has charged black people and the amount of money he has charged brown people. Keep that, and the white people too. I mean, we have to pay the fines also. But now let me show you Chicago quickly. See how good I can draw Chicago. Right? This Chicago, this is Evanston up here, comes over to Rogers Park, runs out by O'Hara, comes in by Galewood, down to Cicero Avenue, comes out to Midway, comes back down, Deering, like that. Okay, so that is Chicago. Where people that might have voted for me, because I did run in 2012 for the 5th Congressional District, if you look at the voting totals, 44th Ward, 43rd Ward, 45th Ward, 41st Ward, 39th Ward, all these areas right here is how the district runs. Runs all the way out to O'Hara, comes all the way back in here, comes in here, goes up to Lawrence Avenue, and then goes all the way down to Chicago Avenue. That whole area is the 5th Congressional District. You've got 41st Ward, 44th, 43rd, you got the 39th, you got the 45th, you got the 36th, you got the 38th. You go look at those counts of the last primary election, look at the amount of votes that Rahm Emanuel got the last time and the amount of votes Rahm Emanuel got this time, and you will see that his numbers are down in what is the 5th Congressional District in the city of Chicago. So I take a little bit of credit to force this run-up. It was very important that we have this run-up because now they are talking some of the issues. But still, you cannot trust the Tribune, the Sun-Times, ABC, NBC, CBS, public radio, even Fox in Chicago. Nobody is looking at the real serious problems in Chicago. So that's why I'm doing this show. I want to point out a few things, and I want to give some hints to Chuy Garcia, because I think the way things are going to fall, he may end up winning this election. So there are a lot of warnings I have for Chuy or Jesus, and I'm going to bring that up. So let's start, first of all, no choice, all right? I put down no choice. I mean, the difference between Rahm Emanuel and Mr. Garcia is the difference between Marx and Lenin, or the difference between Mao and Pol Pot. You know, all far leftists, all these people that believe they have the better ideas, that they have all the solutions to all the problems, and they have no solutions. It does not work. Government control does not work. Look at your history. It never works. When you depend on the government, I'll point this out again and again. When you think you can depend on the government, it doesn't work. It does not work. The government is there to facilitate people to be in business, to get traffic flowing, to handle the money system so that we're not carrying gold coins around. Those are functions of the federal government. Those are functions of state government, city government. City government should make sure the traffic flows, make sure everybody's safe, make sure, probably should not even be in transit, which they've been in for too many years. I mean, there was a time, you know, all the L's, you know, like Lake Street L and the main, you know, old State Street subway and all, it was all built by private people. It was not government. I mean, you guys got to look back at the history. So here's my advice to Chuy. Here's one idea if you really want to solve Chicago's financial problems. This is my advice to you. If you want to be considered maybe the greatest mayor there's ever been, you're going to have to go to your union friends. I know all the unions have given you tons of money. So let me point out, before I get too far along, and I got to write down here Richard J. So I don't forget. But now, all your union buddies, I have to point this out because, you know, if you're taking on, you are taking on President Obama's good little buddy. And maybe the Justice Department will come after you. So watch this real carefully. I mean, you know, the former governor, Blagojevich, is in prison, never even took a penny. So you go to prison not taking any money, but you have already taken the money. So here's one little thing I'm going to point out to you right now. All these unions have given you money to finance this campaign, right? Okay, but when they come to you for a pay raise, all that money that they gave you then becomes a bribe. No matter how you interpret it. If you take money from someone and then give them a favor, and that's the biggest problem with the unions representing city employees, the biggest problem is they've been paying off these politicians, they've been supporting all these politicians, and then they expect something back. Well, they're all in bribery as far as I'm concerned, whether you're Mike Madigan, whether you're Rahm Emanuel, all these people have taken union money. The second you turn around and then make a deal with the union, that is considered bribery. Go look it up. Look it up in the dictionary. Taking money for favors is bribery. So that's one little warning I have for you. But the other thing, I'm going to give you a bit of advice. If you want to be considered maybe the greatest mayor there ever been in Chicago, I mean, you have the opportunity. And seeing you got all the unions supporting you, all the people working for the city supporting you. My advice to you is the minute you get elected, you then take a 20% pay cut. Say, I'm going to cut my pay, all the alderman pay, you're going to go in and make sure they agree and cut their pay, and then you ask every city employee to take a 10% pay cut. If you could get all the employees in the city of Chicago to take a 10% pay cut, believe me, inflation hasn't been that great. Well, according to the federal government, there's been no inflation. If you can get all the employees to save Chicago, to save the pensions, to save the future. Get everybody to take a 10% pay cut, number one. Number two, you do a serious, I mean stone serious, forensic examination of the entire city budget. You will find millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that are wasted. Millions. If you would sell half the fleet, get rid of half these cars, get rid of half the buildings, you have to do something. All the stuff that has nothing to do with public safety, whether it's just, I mean, look around City Hall. How many clerks are hiding? Go out to all the different ward offices, find all the people that are hiding. Either you get them, everybody to take a nice pay cut, because the last thing you want to do, and this is really important, first of all, taxes that the average person pays, we pay high taxes in Chicago that goes all the way back to when businesses were driven out of Chicago, and I'll be getting back to that in a second. Then I heard someone say that, well, you're only going to raise taxes on business. You raise taxes on business, there will be businesses leave. Believe me, you drive down Lawrence Avenue, drive down North Avenue, drive down Pulaski, drive down Cicero, Ashland Avenue, all these little stores, I'm amazed. I am totally amazed that they're still in business. Another tax will cause a good number of businesses to leave. And once that happens, then the unemployment goes up. Then the spiral. We are only 2 steps away from where Detroit is as far as the financing. I mean, that's the other thing. You're going to have, if you get elected, Chuy, you're going to have to look at all these deals that Rahm Emanuel has made with all these contractors. He has borrowed money on the open market. He hasn't floated any bonds. The law, I don't know if the law requires, you got the city council to go along with it, but any time the city is spending money, there should be a bond issue. Well, he has gone around it. We have no idea, and I'm sure Rahm doesn't know, or maybe he does know. Maybe he is a bigger thief than I thought. But he has made deals with the private market to borrow money, and we don't even know what the interest rates are. There are deals that are evil. I mean, evil is the only term I can come up with on a TV show. I mean, there's other terms I can come up with, but this is to the public. So that's number one. If you could get the city employees to take a 10% pay cut, do a forensic examination, and look to balance the budget finally, cut out half of these jobs going, you have to know where the money is. Now, I know the Tribune, the Sun-Times, ABC, NBC, CBS, WTTW, nobody has been looking at this budget thoroughly. There are millions and millions of dollars out there, because if you look around, you look at how many people in Chicago are paying property taxes, you look at how many people are spending money, buying fuel, buying food, the amount of sales tax that the city collects, the amount of business activity, the city should be balanced. We are still we still have Lake Michigan. Maybe the greatest asset that the city of Chicago has is Lake Michigan, no doubt about it. People are still moving into Chicago, but you start raising them taxes, there's that fine line where people, well, should we stay? We got the nice restaurants, we got the theaters, we got the lakefront. Or maybe we should go. Maybe it's time to go. Maybe we should go to Florida. You know, we got a lot of retirees moving into Chicago. You see these apartment buildings. I mean, I am amazed that there are buildings being built, but it's all because of residents. And them residents can flee just as quickly as they came in. So that's one thing you got to worry about. The other thing, now let me point this out, because I'm going to try to keep this under proper time. Here's a lesson for you. Go look at your history books. And I have to repeat this over and over and over again. And then you understand why I look at the Democratic Party as the worst thing to happen to the city of Chicago. And I'm going back to 1970. This is the truth. Look it up, Mr. Garcia. In 1970, there were 400,000 manufacturing jobs in the city of Chicago. 400,000 manufacturing jobs in the city of Chicago, Mr. Garcia. Richard J. Daley, the biggest criminal, the worst mayor we ever had, this greedy mayor, so hated uppity black people, white people, uppity factory workers, that he wanted to get rid of them. And his excuse, well, these stinky factories, these noisy factories, these are polluting factories. So what did he do? He put in a head tax, $5 per employee per month. Back in 1974, he passed all the companies, and I have intimate knowledge of everything I'm saying right now. They told him, but the Tribune, the Sun-Times, they said, oh, these greedy factory owners, you know, the people who own Zenith, Mayoral, U.S. Steel, Stewart Warner, go on, Floorshine Shoes, Schwinn Bicycle, all these greedy owners. It's so evil for a government to tax people for working, to put a tax on someone that hires someone. It's the most evil. Now, driver, you want to take a ride? I mean, I know the city of Chicago better than you know it. I know that I know the city of Chicago better than Rahm Emanuel knows. I know the city of Chicago better than almost anybody that's talking. So, look around. When you see these young guys on the corner standing around, they may never work without a good factory going up. They may never work until they start pulling their pants up. They may never work. And then minimum wage, you're going to push a minimum wage, and that's another tax. That's another stupid idea. You got to get people to work. Don't worry about minimum wage. Worry about getting someone to work. Worry about getting someone to understand work. Worry about getting someone to know to get up in the morning, put some clothes on, comb your hair, take a shower, get on the train, go to work. And it'd be nice if they could just walk. You know, back in the 70s, you could walk down the street. You could live right over here in Mayfair. You could live over in the Austin neighborhood. You could walk right to Zenith at Mayfair. You could have walked right to Skillsaw. People used to walk, and everybody didn't have to drive. Now you get up in the morning, everybody's getting in their car and they're driving to the suburbs because the suburbs don't have a head tax. Chuy, listen to me. You want to call me? You want to get together before the election? I got a lot of good advice. Another one, murder rate. I want to point this out. Somebody's got to say this. President Obama lives approximately right there, okay? You go in a 2-mile radius of President Obama's house, 2-mile radius, over 500 young boys and girls, black boys and girls, within a 2-mile radius of President Obama's house have been murdered since he was president. If you go to a 4-mile radius of President Obama's house, over 1,000 young black boys and girls have been murdered since President Obama has been president. Most of the murderers, here's my contention, most of the murderers are serial killers. There are murderers on the streets of Chicago, that have killed more than 10 people. The police never talk about this. They do forensics. They got the bullets. They can compare the bullets and the guns. Serial murders running around the city of Chicago, and the police never asked for the public to help. A week ago, some young basketball player got shot on the south side, 18 years old, 17 years old. 2 people jumped out of a car, SUV. Was that license plate given out? Was the description of the car given out? Did they break in the news on ABC, NBC, CBS? Are they letting people of Chicago know that there are mass murders in Chicago? Mass murders that want to kill people, that take pleasure out of killing people? Or does this mean there's 4,000 individual murderers running around the streets? But I believe there are serial murders, and I think a lot of it has nothing to do with gangs even. It may just have people just enjoying killing people. And where is President Obama? In 2 miles of his house, 2 miles of his house, and he's done nothing. Rahm Emanuel's got the same attitude. Here's a bit of advice for you, Mr. Garcia. Get the public involved. I know, personally, there are 20 to 30 to 40,000 young black people, 20 to 30 to 40,000 in those neighborhoods that would walk the streets if they were working together with the police. You have to get the citizens involved. Just like in Sicily. Go look at your books. A few years ago, the Sicilians got a little aggravated at the mob. They got rid of the mob in some of the towns, Palermo and that, because the people stood up. We need to get the people to stand up. You have to get people to volunteer, even if you got to let people carry guns on the street, carry long rifles, patrol their neighborhoods. If you want to take the city back, that is my bit of advice. And I know there's people in the newspaper and the TV and the radio are going to be freaking out. But you got to get, I see these crossing guards or these safe passage areas. For sixth graders, fifth graders, they need safe passage. You need people out there with, and so what if someone came along with a gun? What would these people with these little vests do if someone had a gun? No, we need a whole different approach. You want to eliminate crime in Chicago? You need to get the people involved, and that's the best bit of advice I'm going to give you. So the murder rate, big problem, no doubt about it. You have to do something. The money, you have to get people. If you raise more taxes, believe me, it is not going to help. It is not going to be good. All right, so another thing that I want to point out. Revenue, here's another revenue source. Richard M. Daley and his brother were involved with stealing the parking meters. Here's another thing I want to let you know. We're involved with stealing the parking meters from the city of Chicago. That whole scheme, that whole $1 billion loan, that whole billion, the way they put the money together, it was brother Billy, William Daley was involved with Chase Bank, involved with the money, putting the money together, come up with that money to buy the parking meters. The city of Chicago did a study. For $37 million, the city of Chicago could have bought all that equipment to put all the meters in. They didn't need the $1 billion. And where'd the $1 billion go? I have no idea. But that steady source of income that we lost because of Richard M. Daley, you want to get out of that contract? Well, you're not going to, I mean, Madigan's daughter isn't going to do anything. Your local state's attorney, they're not going to do anything. The federal government, maybe has a mayor, maybe you're going to have to find a special investigator. Maybe you got to get the Inspector General's office to do an investigation. But if you can prove that Richard M. Daley has received 1 penny from that contract, you can prove that there was an illegal contract was signed with whoever this money came from, and the city of Chicago will be able to break the contract because it's an illegal contract. Just pointing that out to you. That's another source of income. You want to become a great mayor? Now, a lot of people thought that Harold Washington was a great mayor. Harold Washington was pretty lazy. I mean, he did. I liked his speeches. The idea of sharing equal money in every ward and letting the aldermen, that came from Harold Washington, no doubt about it. Every ward got so much money. But let me point out, he was not a hard worker. If you are elected, you got to get ready to work 20 hours a day. You're going to have to clean up the city. You're going to have to get the people involved. You want to be a great mayor? That is the key. All right, now I got another couple minutes. I want to point. I heard rumors. Now I haven't looked into this. I haven't had time. I've been too busy with the motorcycle racing. Got my school come up. I got a lot of things going on, and maybe planning to run again. Down in Springfield, they are talking about changing the election law. So here's my message to Governor Rahm there. And Governor, we have to get together. I have great ideas. You want to become a famous governor. You want to be more famous than Henry Horner. You want to be more famous than Big Jim Thompson. I got 2 or 3 ideas that will make you great and get get the state of Illinois going. The state of Illinois is so wealthy. There is so much potential, income, jobs, land. Oh, that's the other thing, Chuy. All the vacant lots, what was the figure? 177,000 vacant lots in Chicago? Get every lot listed. What lots are owned by the city? What lots are abandoned? You start putting them lists together, then you may be able to get some companies to come in. You could work with Governor Rounder. You could turn this thing around and bring companies back. There are major manufacturing companies in China that are up to here with the corruption in China that would love to come back. When you hear about the trillions of dollars that are offshore, these people would love to come back, but until we get rid of President Obama, they're not going to come back because every time he turns around, he wants to raise more taxes. You got to know that fine line between taxes and what people will pay. All right, let me go back to the election. So now we got, I don't know if Madigan's involved with this, Culverton, I don't know which one of them criminals down there in Springfield are involved, but they're talking about changing the election law, pushing the primary back to June or something like that. Governor Rounder, stop it. Stop it now. You want Illinois to have an early primary. You want Illinois to still be involved with what's going on the national scene. You still want a March primary. You don't want to push it back. Now there are people say, oh, but the campaign lasts so long. If you have no money, you need a long campaign. If you are filthy rich, you don't need a long campaign. You can just buy. So Rounder, I know you had a good amount of money when you ran. So let me point this out to you, Governor. Do not allow them to change the election laws. And then I heard some rumors about getting rid of the primaries. We need the primaries. We need a Republican Party, Republican primary. We need a Democrat Party and Democrat primaries. And that's my message to you, Governor Rounder. So, Chuy, you want to talk to me? It's Dan Schmitt, SCHMITT. My political website is walkwithdan.com. The motorcycle website is teamchicago.tv. But because Front Page, I built both those websites, Front Page no longer supports the websites. I have to build new websites in the next couple of weeks. But you can get a hold of me, Chuy. Call Chicago Access. Let's get together. I have great ideas to save Chicago, but you need to bring business back to Chicago. If you want people to work, business needs to return to Chicago. We can still rebuild Chicago.